Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. My name is Brian, and we talk about Blu-rays here. And today I'm doing something I'm calling underrated labels. I may do this again in the future, but there's a lot of labels people know about and are at least talked about to some degree on this channel and other channels. And this is a new one for me that I haven't talked about before, but I think is very interesting and deserves your attention. And they are called Plumeria Pics. This is a UK-based label. Their website is plumeriapics.co.uk. That's plumeriapics.co.uk. And they've been around a little bit, but they don't have too many releases just yet. So I'm going to talk about a couple of their first releases and an upcoming release that I'm interested in, but just wanted to kind of put them on your radar, let you know what they're doing and the quality of work involved. And so I'm going to start with a pretty high-profile title here. I love this. It's a very plain slipcase, but it's perfectly done. This is for the movie Sneakers from 1992, directed by Phil Alden Robinson, who had done things like Field of Dreams is the real big other one. But this one has really become... so this is just a thin slipcase you get. We get the traditional cover, which I've always loved. Shows the cast and everything. But this is a Region B lock disc. It is definitely better than the stateside studio release you can get. It's a really wonderful special edition of, what is one of those movies that is like well-known, but still kind of a cult item. Should be, everybody's favorite, one of everybody's favorite films from the 90s, but I feel like there's definitely a vocal group of people that talk about it, but I think some have not seen it, and for some, it just slipped away over time. They loved it, but they've forgotten about it. So for those that don't know the story, it is about basically it's about two computer hacker types in the 60s who are forced to split up because of some of the dealings that they're working on. And one of them becomes a guy who runs sort of a security expert code-breaking team that does these jobs where they will basically hack into people's computer systems, security systems, and let them know about the flaws. So it's sort of an authorized hack. And they've got a great team of guys that have different specialties, and it's almost like high-tech Ghostbustery kind of stuff. And Dan Aykroyd is here, so that sort of lends some of that Ghostbusters feeling to it. But the cast is really one of the most incredible things about it. Robert Redford plays Martin Bishop, who runs the company. Sidney Poitier is sort of like his partner, Donald Creese. Dan Aykroyd is Mother. David Strathairn is Whistler. He's blind, but he is like really good with certain kinds of... he's got a lot of expertise, actually. River Phoenix is part of the team, and they're just a great group. They have a great chemistry, and it's just one of those casts that just absolutely clicks into place and totally gets you. Supporting cast includes Timothy Busfield, Mary McDonnell, Ben Kingsley, James Earl Jones, Donald Logue in a very nice turn as a sort of a, idiot genius type. There's a whole lot. Stephen Tobolowsky has a good part here. There's a lot of recognizable faces beyond that, but it's a really great cast, and the idea is that this team, in doing one of their break-ins, ends up encountering this incredible super device that is the code-breaking black box that will break any security code, will let you break into the National Treasury, let you break into any government database, and once they stumble across it, they are sort of made to be the fall guys for the government wanting to find. I don't want to give away too much, but basically they look like they are trying to get away with it, and they're now on the run. And I don't want to say too much more about it because really, if you haven't seen it, it's a joy to watch, and it's a heist movie, it's a thriller, it's a comedy, it's got so many disparate elements that I just love about it. So anyway, it's just one of those movies that every time you watch it, or if you haven't seen it for years, you sit down to watch it again, you're like, oh yeah, this movie is great. And you can kind of see why it has such a fan base. And so this special edition, it is Region B locked, as I said, so you will need a multi-region player to play it. It is really nice in terms of the features. Now, I think the commentary with Phil Alden Robinson might have been part of the previous Blu-ray, and there are some archival interviews here, but more than that, you get some new stuff that I think really makes this release stand out. And so I'll start with the commentary. Like I said, that I think comes from the original release. It is with Phil Alden Robinson, the director, and his DP, John Lindley, which is a great track. Phil Alden Robinson is just really a charming, enjoyable speaker. But now we have that, and then the 1992 cast interviews with Robert Redford and Sidney Poitier, and then we have a bunch of exclusive stuff to this release. So we have a new exclusive video interview with writer-director Phil Alden Robinson. It's 45 minutes long, and it is, it's a really nice, it's done over Zoom, but it's one of those interviews that when you see it, you get his excitement about the film. Like, he's obviously proud of the film, and he still thinks of it fondly, and he talks about all kinds of stuff. He talks about the development. He talks about how it was pitched as a high-tech Dirty Dozen. He talks about some restructuring in terms of the writing. Just the development process itself sounds fascinating. General writing process, shooting the film, the score, the cast, just the idea of this film being like one for us, and you can kind of see that. It's a big budget, one for us kind of movie, and that's why it's so special and why I think a lot of people remember it. So it's a really great interview with the director. Then you have an exclusive audio commentary with Film Stories editor Simon Brew and sneaker superfan James Moran, who's also a writer. He did a film called Severance, and he did Cockneys versus Zombies, and that's a nice back and forth conversation kind of commentary. And then we have another track I really dug, which is an exclusive audio commentary with film critic and sneakers superfan Priscilla Page, who's also a great film writer and somebody I'm a big fan of. And she really loves this movie. Like, if you follow her on Twitter, it's something that comes up regularly. And so you get why she would be a good person to do this track. And I don't know that she's done a ton of commentary tracks, but I really enjoyed this one. So I do hope that there's some more potential commentaries from her at some point. So there's those 3 commentaries, and then that interview and the cast and crew interview, and it's a really great set. If you love this movie, this is the version of the film that you're going to want to get, most certainly. So that's Sneakers, Region B locked. And then another one of their first releases is a film I was unfamiliar with called Soft Top, Hard Shoulder. And this one, again, comes in a, thin cardboard slipcase. It looks like this. It is a sort of a road movie starring Peter Capaldi, who's I can't remember if he's Scottish or where his... he's Scottish. He's become very prominent in the last 10, 15 years. He's in the Paddington films. He was in Suicide Squad, World War Z. He was in the Loop. I think that was a big one for him. But he goes way back. Local Hero, Lair of the White Worm. He's got quite the history. He's a very enjoyable comedic actor. And this is a much more low-key character comedy about this guy he plays named Gavin Bellini. And he's sort of the artist son of a Scots-Italian ice cream dynasty, like this family that made a name for themselves on ice cream, basically. But he sort of turned away from that and moved to South London to sort of make his way as an illustrator of children's books, because that's sort of his thing. And he's kind of failing because his sensibilities are not particularly commercial. At the beginning, we see him pitching a children's book that's very bizarre and macabre and monster-based, and definitely seems to run a little bit darker and thematically, and maybe skews older than he would probably be able to ever get made. So he's very frustrated. He's living in his flat with Jeremy Northam, actor Jeremy Northam, who's like a successful author. And then one of his uncles comes down to see him and says, you have to come home for your dad's birthday party. It's his 60th birthday. And he says, okay, I'll try to be there. But he's obviously estranged from his family. And the uncle offers him he's like, I've got this big lump sum of money I'm trying to give out to all the kids. If you make it, you'll get your share. And so because he's broke, he decides to try to find his way up back to Glasgow, where he's from, and get the money. And so he starts off, his arc is a very selfish, money-driven kind of character. He meets a young hitchhiker along the way, I think played by Elaine Collins, and they sort of hit it off. There's sort of a annoyance between the two of them, but it's clear where it's headed, sort of, and it's a sweet movie. Ultimately, a sweet and funny movie, and he has lots of car trouble. They have all kinds of issues, obviously, along the way, trying to get up to Glasgow by a specific time. He has to be there on a Sunday or Saturday by 7:30 p.m., or the uncle says, I can't promise you anything if you come there after 7:30. And so the idea is, will he make it? Will he make it on time? Will he be the same selfish person he was at the beginning, as he, at the end, etc. So it's a charming movie, and I had never heard of it at all, and so watching it on this Blu-ray was enjoyable. And again, now this one is all region, so you can, this one wasn't region locked, I don't believe. So you can watch it on your US player, but it also includes, I want to say it includes a commentary track. One second. And it is just one of those movies that, like, a label like this decides to put out, and if not for that, like, I don't know that I would ever have heard of it. Like, it's just one of those films that have completely passed me by. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. There doesn't seem to be... Oh, yeah, sorry. Extra audio commentary with director Stephen Schwartz and producer Richard Holmes. So you get a commentary track with this. I'm pretty sure this is the only Blu-ray release of this film that I'm aware of, but maybe there's something outside the UK. But this one seems pretty obscure and off the beaten path. So a nice movie to have them be part of their beginning slate. But between Sneakers and Soft Top Hard Shoulder and their upcoming release of Mazes and Monsters, which is the Tom Hanks Dungeons and Dragons LARPing drama-ish thriller from the 80s, the early Tom Hanks performance, they're doing a Blu-ray of that, and that is coming out in late September. And I'm very curious to check that out. That's one of those movies that I remember seeing as a younger person, and I haven't seen in a long time, and I've heard it's pretty flawed, but I definitely am curious to check out this Blu-ray. It's the first Blu-ray release of that film that I'm aware of. So that is an upcoming one from Plumeria Pics. But again, I just wanted to highlight this label, put them on your radar. Definitely keep an eye on their social media. I'll leave those links below. And just keep tabs on what they're putting out, because it seems like there's not an avalanche of releases, but there's a lot of stuff slowly leaking out that could be interesting. And between Sneakers and Mazes and Monsters, I'm already curious what their next releases will be. So anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.